Did you know that you can save about 450 euros a month for a 20-person team by building yourself a custom internal chatbot hosted on Azure instead of using Copilot? Well, let me give you another one. For 40-person team, that would be already 1,000 a month you're saving each month, not even including the employee time that can be saved because of the functionalities Copilot lacks. Like for example, giving answers from 40-minute videos with specific timestamp link. But all of that I'm going to cover in this video. In fact, just as I was going to film this video, Microsoft reported that almost nobody is using its Copilot. And that's just because for the 70% of the time, they're failing to do the tasks. So if you are using Copilot for internal knowledge search or you're thinking about it, then I want you to watch this video because I'm going to put the Copilot and the Azure hosted chatbot against each other side by side just to see who does the job better. Okay, right off the bat, I first thought that Copilot has some trial. They don't have it. Okay, no worries. I thought I'll get it for 1 month, then cancel the subscription. And actually, when I went to Copilot and I wanted to try it for 1 month, it didn't even let me to do that. There's only this one option where you have to commit for a whole year, which means they're going to charge you each month. And I think that just shows how desperate Microsoft actually is about this Copilot thing. If they're not even letting you to try it just for 1 month. Then on the Microsoft site, I asked the Copilot itself, like, what's the issue? Why can't I get it for 1 month or just to try it for quickly? To which he replied to me, well, he didn't actually reply to me. He seemed like he was also confused about that one. So I don't know, Microsoft, do something about your Copilot, or I should say Copilot. So as I didn't want to pay 200 euros a month just to try it for a few hours, I went with the most logical option I had here. And that was, I went to the Microsoft site, signed up for a new Microsoft account, created a SharePoint, which I populated with test files which I had from previous SharePoint, then went and again chatted with the Copilot on how to properly get the free trial for Copilot Studio, which he actually was able to help me with. Signed up on Copilot Studio for a free trial, created an agent with SharePoint knowledge, celebrated for a bit, published it on Teams, and I was ready to chat. Alright, I've bring myself up here to the top, and for the most of the part of the video, I'm gonna be up here, as I think it will be easier if you can see the both chatbots side by side to actually compare the answers and the speed. Without wasting any more time, let's start by the first question. How many laptops do we have? Let's copy the question actually into the other chatbot. Let's send this. And right off the bat, our custom chatbot got back to us with an answer, and it actually got back also with answer from the video, because it seemed like there was also something about laptops even there. And then after a while, Copilot also got back us with the answer. We can see both said that we have 15 laptops according to the inventory. Both have the sources. If we click on them, this is Excel sheet. If we click on the Copilot Excel sheet, it actually prompts us to download the file. So it doesn't throw us to the page. That is not a good start for Copilot, but let's see what it does next. Next question. What are the standard rules for vacation time? Let's send it. We can see our chatbot got back to us with an answer. Copilot is still thinking. Okay, also Copilot got back to us with an answer. We can see our answer is maybe a bit more comprehensive, but I believe that Copilot also did answer our question. Also, both took it from the same file, from the same source, which is the eHandbook July 2021. It's a PDF. Now regarding the source, we can see our chatbot got back to us with a specific page, but Copilot did got back to us with just the regular PDF, which leads to the first page of it. And yes, this is from McDonald's. Instead, our Copilot, chatbot, got back to us with specific page, and we can see, yeah, it has 8 standard rules. If we go back, we can see he also did provide us with the all 8 rules, but maybe that's just coincidence. And now, I don't know, but I think regarding the specific page linking, that it actually gives the link to the specific PDF page where it took the info from, I think that's pretty necessary. Because, okay, on this side, our chatbot gave all the 8 rules which was mentioned in the PDF page. Copilot instead gave only like 4 or maybe it combined the rules, but still, it didn't give maybe a complete answer. So it's necessary that you go to the specific page and look, maybe it forgot something. And I'm not saying that our chatbot would always get all the rules. Maybe it also sometimes would forget something or not include something if it would feel like it's necessary. So by taking really this example, you see how important it is that it actually gives the specific PDF page, because that would be the same as you would ask me a question. I would say it to you and I would say, yeah, it was from this 300-page book. go look for yourself, right? It's going to take you some time to actually find that page. And this PDF had 40 pages. It was on the 16th page. Of course, you can Control F and then search the info in the PDF, but that's again time consuming and double action you have to take. But let's move to the next question. And that is, what were the top 10 VCI investments in 2017? Let's send it in. The Copilot is already generating an answer. Our chatbot also got back to us with an answer. So it was the same speed now. Our chatbot got back with specific AI investments, actually the top 10, but Copilot instead, he wasn't that specific with his answer. He only said that, yes, there was some investments. Both of them got back with the same resource, which is good. Now, if we dig a bit deeper and we check the source, it's a presentation with an image inside the slide. So this is actually an image, and let me show it to you, just so you don't think I am messing with you. Here you can see it's an image, and Copilot actually, what he was able to pull out was only the title of this presentation, but as this is image, it wasn't able to pull out the text from the image itself, although our chatbot was actually to do that, and it did it pretty well. On the other hand, if we actually also click on the resource from the Copilot, which gave, we click on presentation, it again asks us to download the presentation. So it doesn't actually give us the link to our SharePoint presentation where it's sitting, because it's sitting in our SharePoint. Let's try something else. Let's go with name me some AI drug companies. And this is in the same presentation which I showed you in the past. We can see the chatbot comes back with an answer with the companies. Copilot is still thinking. He's thinking. And he now comes back with an answer. It also gave the companies, but not all. It gave us few. It gave us actually 7 companies. Now, when we click into the source from where both chatbots took the info from, there's actually 7 AI companies in drug discovery. Our AI chatbot gave us 9. The Copilot gave us 7, but those 7 which he gave isn't in this file, and these 2 extra ones which our chatbot gave also isn't in this file. So it's a bit 50-50 situation here. I don't know, maybe Copilot also took it from the internet, because it's also asking me for recent funding rounds if I want to know it for these companies. I don't know, but this was pretty weird situation. So to conclude the image thing with these chatbots, let's get something from a scanned PDF and see what Copilot and our chatbot does. So let's go back into our chatbots, but let's ask a question. What will be the strategies for drinking water? Let's send it in. The Copilot got back with an answer faster, but the chatbot was right after it. Yeah, the Copilot didn't provide any source. Our chatbot provided the scanned PDF source, and that just shows that this answer was generated by himself, or maybe he took the answer from somewhere, although I didn't put any website knowledge base. And then I can actually show you this document. There was 4 strategies. We can actually compare it. Yes, there are 4 strategies also in our chatbot's answer. And you can see, yeah, it's a scanned PDF. You can see it's a bit twisted even to the side, but the chatbot had no problem to giving the answer still, and actually also still giving it to the specific page. But Copilot, yeah, maybe there's some setting which can be enabled. Oh yeah, and one more thing which I forgot to see is that it also doesn't provide the folder path to the root file. We can see here, if we click on the file, on the folder path, sorry, we can see actually the root folder for the file. But for Copilot, it just isn't possible. It doesn't, no, there's nothing like that. But of course, maybe it's not that necessary, but I think it's just those little things which help you move faster into your cloud. And it's one of these things which can be done when you're building custom chatbot. Okay, but that's enough about documents. Let's move into the pictures, and let's see if Copilot is actually able to give us pictures from their file names, or maybe from the content in the pictures. Let's send the question, show me the New Jersey images. Let's send it into Copilot. Let's send it to our chatbot. Copilot has already got back to an answer, but it doesn't seem that it's the right one. And our chatbot returns some kind of error code 400. Nice. Let's try this one again, and let's see if it retrieves our images. Our chatbot seems to get back to us with 5 images. Let's see what Copilot gives us. Copilot, he actually asked us another question. Could you clarify what you mean by New Jersey site? I'm looking for images, buddy. Copilot thinks for a while. Okay, it found several images. It found 5 images. None of the images have the name Then he asked me, would you like me to compile these images into zip file? Well, sure, why not? Then he says that he has prepared a zip file with the New Jersey site images, but when I click, nothing actually happens. Except on the other side, our chatbot actually was successful and retrieved images. It retrieved all the 5 images. Let's see how it looks. Yes. We can see the folder. We have all the 5 images, which is great. Okay, yeah, we can see that Copilot wasn't able to find the images based on the file names. Maybe it is able to find some other files based on file names, except for images. But in this task, it wasn't able actually to provide us with images. I was pretty damn positive when it asked me to provide a zip file, but there was nothing for me to download. So not great, Copilot, not great. All right, but now let's get into our next testing, which is going to be my favorite one, and it's video functionality. And I've prepared a question here, and I've got some kind of 20+ minute meeting there. Let's send in this question and see what both of them provides. Our chatbot got back to us pretty fast. Copilot is still thinking. Okay, it got back to us with an answer, but it didn't got back to us with an answer from the video. So this just means that Copilot himself made the answer. If we look on the other side for our chatbot, he gave us a few points and it gave us few video timestamp links. If we click on one of them, it starts the meeting from the point where the issue was mentioned.
The Postgres.
We can see 9:43.
A replication issue there real quick.
And they're talking about replication issue. Boom. How cool is that? And now the chatbot, our chatbot, is able to give this answer because of the voiceover. I am sure that also Copilot, he would give you an answer. He would give you an answer if we had a TXT. If we actually went here, we did the transcript where you can do it in the SharePoint. You could do it somewhere. Oh yeah, here I found it. You have the transcript, which you can see SharePoint generated automatically. And then you would need to go here. You would click on download as docx. You download the file. You would go to your SharePoint. You would click into documents. You would upload it like this. And only then Copilot could actually give you an answer about it. And just to show you that, let me actually quickly refresh the knowledge for Copilot. Let's send the same question. And I think now, as it has the docx file with the transcript, it would be able to give the answer. Okay, it still didn't give the answer. I'm not sure actually what is the time in which Copilot updates its files or actually also fetches newly added files, if it does it automatically. But I think it probably does it. It should do it because our chatbot, on average, it updates or fetches the new data in like 15 minutes or so. For the videos, for longer documents, it may be longer, but about 15 minutes is an average. Okay, after some while I ran the query again and Copilot has finally updated the file we put in. I'm not sure how much time it took for Copilot to update the new file we added. I searched a bit and it says that it updates the files in 15 to few hours, although it may take also 24 hours. So I'm not sure how precisely how much time it took, but again, it doesn't give the video timestamp link like our chatbot does. And still, if it even would, it didn't even give the timestamp seconds. But if it even would give you the timestamp seconds, you would still have to find that video in the SharePoint because this is just a document of the transcript. You have to locate the timestamp, so on and so on. That's a lot of work. And again, to make these transcripts, it doesn't happen instantly. SharePoint doesn't make these transcripts instantly. It takes a while, so you would then have to check in every now and then. Then you have to download the file, put it in the SharePoint, and that is not needed. It just creates unnecessary files in your SharePoint. So you better stick with something like this, which our chatbot is capable of doing. I'm not sure if it's actually needed to test any more videos that we had with description and with voiceover. But we can try. Let's ask, where was this storage unit in spaceship? I'm not even going to ask it for Copilot. The chatbot really well pulls out the answer from the video. And if you go to timestamp, it starts to show the storage unit. It starts from 4 minutes and 51 seconds. Actually, if you see another thing, then the subtitles are in Spanish. And yes, this video doesn't have any sound. So it took the info only from the subtitles. But I think this for now rounds up our question asking from the documents in our cloud. And there were a few other features which I wanted to test. The first one is it possible to use while in a meetings? Now I'm going to create a meeting. Then I'm going to join the meeting. Then we can see right here that it added automatically to meeting, but okay, that is probably something you can also make an automation for Copilot. We can then ask the questions we asked previously, like for example this, then it gives the answer, and we don't have to leave Teams in order to search for documents in a cloud. But if I look for the Copilot, then I actually don't see it as an app added to our meeting. If I try to add it, let's search for Copilot. We don't see actually our chatbot, which we created on Copilot. And now when I did make this Copilot agent, I did actually check the box that this agent is available to use in group and meeting chats. But as you can see, well, those are meeting chats. Those are not specifically meetings, right? If we go to the meeting chat, we should be able to add it here, although it doesn't let us do that. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's something I didn't do right, but it doesn't seem to. So I will not praise our chatbot because it seems like you can also have it in meetings. Although it says that you can have it in meeting chats, but not as a meeting side panel. So that would be still interesting to see if it actually is able to be used while in a meeting. The next thing which I was curious to see is the Outlook integration. For example, because when you look at our chatbot, there's a cool little feature we have it in, and that is when you ask the question to the chatbot, like you usually would do in Teams or SharePoint or whatever the chatbot is, it gives the documents, but now next to the documents, there's insert a button, which lets you insert a document into your email, which then shares the link of that file. So if the other person on the other side would open the email, they would see this document link. When they would click it, it would open the video. Now, again, pretty time-saving feature, but I'm curious to see if Copilot actually has it. Let's for example, ask one of the questions in the start. Yeah, okay, it gives the source, but as you can see, we are not actually able to maybe insert this into our email. You would still actually, when you would go to the file, you would still need to go to the SharePoint and actually copy the link and then go back to Outlook and insert into the email. Of course, this can be probably customized in Copilot Studio, but I'm not sure because this is a bit challenging to do and it requires a bit of programming and additional requests to make. Regarding the customizability, starting with UI and the interface, seems like, well, both of them are pretty similar as you can see. I think as long as I research, you can also do it with the Copilot. You can make your custom UI and then upload it and somehow connect it with the Copilot agent you have. So that seems to be also possible with Copilot. Then regarding the channel options, both of them offer pretty similar options. Both of them can be put in Teams, SharePoint, Outlook. Also, and when I looked at Copilot Studio, there's also option for private websites and other stuff. So that is also pretty similar. Then also, of course, the prompting of the chatbot. You can determine in what tone you want him to answer and on how long the answers you want them to be. Also, then you can select the models for the Copilot you want. Copilot, although doesn't offer that many models for their Copilot agents, although when we're building the chatbot and we're hosting then it on your Azure, we can pretty much choose a wide range of AI models, even the 4.0 model, which is a pretty stable one, which isn't possible for Copilot Studio. So I would say that is a bit of plus as you have a lot of models to choose from. Regarding some API connections, I'm not sure if you can do it in Copilot Studio, but it would be interesting to see exactly if Copilot also can retrieve some kind of information from external APIs like CRMs. And then regarding also for the Copilot agent, you can also have these Outlook integrations where it like automatically answers the email, all that stuff. And all that stuff is also possible with our custom-made chatbot because as it's based on Azure, which is Microsoft service, that is also all possible. So regarding the customizability wise, they are both pretty much the same. But what is not the same is the cost. I already in the video start mentioned that the cost is mainly the main thing which differentiates this chatbot from the Copilot. And to better show it to you, let me just put up the numbers just so you can see it. For Copilot, for 20 persons, you would pay approximately 600 euros a month. Plus, if you would want to have all this customizability with the Copilot agents, you'd want to have also the Copilot Studio, where I made my agent, and that would be additional 200 euros a month, which you would be paying for Microsoft every single month. So that totals to 800 euros a month you're paying for 20-person teams for the Copilot. Now, for a 40-person team, let's do the math. That's about 1,200 euros you're losing, each month by using Copilot, plus again the 200 euros you're paying for Copilot Studio. In total, that's about 1,400 euros a month you're paying for Copilot. Now, if instead we go to the chatbot which is hosted on your Azure, for a 20-person team, the monthly cost is 150 euros a month. And this cost can be less, it can be a bit more, it can maybe even go to 250 euros. It can also go down to 100 euros a month. That all depends also on the data size combined what you have in your SharePoint. So I'm just taking the average monthly cost, which is usually for others. And then you would also have the AI cost, which would be around 3 to 5 euros a month per 100 questions. And that's all you have. And regarding this AI cost, again, it's something flexible, and it's not like over time new AI models come out, they get cheaper, they get better, so that cost also may vary, and at some point maybe it even be €1 per 100 questions, who knows. If we go to the 30-person team, this might shock you because it's again 150 euros a month, and again 3 to 5 euros per 100 questions you're paying for the AI usage. I think it's also worth looking at this per yearly basis. So let's do the quick math for the Copilot quickly. For 20-person teams, 800 euros a month per year, that would be about 9,600 euros a year, which you're paying for Copilot. For a 30-person team instead, it would be around 16,800 euros you're paying per year. On the other hand, if you look at the Azure, for a 20-person team, that would be around 1,800 you're paying per year, plus additional, let's say, for example, 2,000 euros you're paying for the AI usage, for the questions that people ask. And for 40-person team, that would be still 1,800 you're paying for a year for the cloud hosting and all the maintenance. Plus, let's give it here also times 2, 4,000 euros you're paying for the AI usage. Now combined here, let's actually round it up to 4,000 euros you're paying per year for the Azure hosted chatbot. And here, let's round up to 6,000 euros you're paying each year. For 20-person team, that's more than 2 times you save by using and building your own chatbot. And for the 40-person team, it's almost 3 times you save each year. And this is not even me including the time that employees would waste when they're searching for information. Because as you saw previously, Copilot doesn't give specific links to PDFs. It doesn't give video timestamp links or even precise presentation slide. It just gives you that you download the presentation. And also same with Excel. And if you want the video functionality, you would have to manually upload a file, do all that stuff. That's also time employees are losing. So this number realistically would be even bigger. And that is what mainly I want to show you with this video. And I also hope that you understood that by building yourself a custom-made chatbot, you can really expand the functionality of your chatbot by adding these little things which save yourself more time than it would usually have. And yes, of course, Copilot also does have a bunch of other things which it does, like creates presentations and who knows what other stuff it has. But as we could see also from the report in the start, it seems like if it's lacking here in the internal knowledge search, then I'm wondering how well does it perform doing all those other tasks. And well, based on the report I gave you at the start, it seems like it doesn't perform that well. But I may be mistaken. If you watching are Copilot user, then you could maybe share your experience below and let me know what's the realistic take on this. But regarding this internal knowledge search, I would suggest you building your own chatbot and by adjusting it to your needs and then hosting it on your Azure, which by the way, we can help you with, and we do it pretty well. And now that's it from me.